Hello, it's Professor Newkirk, Southeastern Louisiana University. I'm going to be talking about brazing and showing you how you connect two pieces of wire. Brazing, you can think of it as like low temperature welding. It's like the precursor to actually welding processes. We're going to be using baling wire, which is a raw steel wire. It's available at most hardware stores. It has a coat of oil on it to keep it from rusting that we're going to want to clean off. And we're going to use a simple propane torch. And this torch is really nice because you don't have to use a match or a striker. It's an automatic striker, kind of like your gas stove at home, which makes it a lot more safe and easier to work with. So propane gets hot enough for brazing, but not hot enough for regular welding. Then we have to go to an oxyacetylene gas combination to get more heat, and also this flame is not bright enough, so we don't have to worry about welding goggles and all of that is required for safety with welding. So the first thing we want to do is I've got my little piece of wire here, and it's going to be brazed onto this other piece, and you can see it already has some brazes there that have been made previously, and that's what they look like. You need to clean this off, and we clean it off because the flux, which is what allows the filler metal to flow, is not going to work if it's dirty. This flux that we're using, which is a Peterson blue flux, is really forgiving and easy to use. Some flux you have to clean it off ahead of time with mineral spirits or alcohol and really get it clean, or some of them even wire brush it or use steel wool. But this stuff, it's pretty forgiving, so we just need to get the oil off, and you're going to want to do that when you're working with this stuff just to make it less messy anyway. So we're going to put this on our object, on where we want to do the brazing. And one of the things that's really important is you don't want this to move. So you want to make sure it's set up, and sometimes that's tricky and you might have to make a little wire stand or use fire bricks to hold it in place. But if it moves, you're messed up and it's not going to work. We have this sitting on fire bricks because we don't want to catch the wood table that I'm on fire or any other surface. Fire bricks are used to absorb heat. They use them to build ceramic kilns, and that's really the best sort of surface to work with. It doesn't matter what hands you use, if you're right-handed or left-handed. The filler metal, which is this here, comes in about a 3-foot rod of metal. They come in different thicknesses, and so for a thin metal braze like this, we're going to use filler metal that's, it's about a 16th of an inch. So thicker the metal you're brazing, the thicker the filler metal is going to have to be. So you want to have to be able to control this with really minute movement. I'm going to hold that in my dominant hand. The torch is more of a larger movement, and the heat exposure isn't that much, but for safety we're going to wear a glove anyway, and hold my filler metal with that. So we're going to light the torch here, and so for this model you turn on the gas about a turn, and then I'm going to push this yellow button, and I'm going to hold it in, and then I'm going to push the steel button on top, which locks it in an open position. So now that's way too much heat for what I need, so I'm going to turn this down until I get just a little bit of that blue flame coming out, that bright blue flame there. So the next thing I want to do is I want to put flux on my filler metal. So I'm going to get it a little bit warm. I'm not heating it up to red hot, just a little bit warm. And then I'm going to stick it into the flux till I get some crystallized flux on there that looks like that. So then I go over here to the metal, and you want to get this metal to where it's orange hot. So it's going to go to a dark red and then an orange. And what's important is that both pieces of metal are the same in heat and temperature. So they need to be the same color. So we want it to get that nice bright orange. And then I've got to put the tip of this filler metal right on it, on where the two pieces of metal touch together. And then when it starts to flow, it's gonna like collapse and run. Then I'm just gonna pull it out, and then it's done. So now you have to remember that all of that, I'm gonna turn that off. You just push the yellow button to turn it off. Just remember that all of that now is hot, so I don't wanna grab it with my bare hands. So I've got some needle nose pliers here, so I can pick that up with the needle nose pliers, and then we can go over to the sink and we can plunge it into some water and cool the whole thing off. You know, and then you can handle it. And just a little bit of water will cool it down. And then you can test it, you know, bend it, make sure that it was a good weld or a good braze. And then you can go on and work from there. Thank you.